every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gift or Gete. In our major story, Nigeria's Council of State meets ahead transition, approves handover program. Also in this program, federal government affirms Solomon Arase as substantive Inspector General of Police. Senate signs and passes anti-tobacco bill, outlaws smoking in public houses. Outside Nigeria, death toll rises in Nepal after 7.2 magnitude earthquake. It's good to have you stay on with CoreTV Primetime News. Now details of the headlines and other stories. The National Council of State has approved a transition program ahead of the May 29th handover ceremony. President-elect Muhammadu Buhari is to get his handover notes on May 28, after which he would be conducted round the presidential villa alongside his deputy Yemi Osinbajo. This was one of the decisions taken at the meeting, which had all living former presidents and heads of state in attendance. Basiaye has the details.
It was the last council meeting under the Jonathan administration, and it was fitting that all former presidents and heads of state were in attendance. President-elect Buhari was attending his second consecutive meeting after previously staying away. Also at the presidential villa was former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who showed up about 1 hour into the meeting. The main agenda centered around the handover ceremonies. The council approved the program that includes a tour of the presidential villa as well as the exchange of handover notes.
The other issue is the Transition and Integration Committee. You recall that the two arms, the government, the sitting government and the incoming government, all selected their transition committees and with the terms of reference, but actually they became almost one because of the interface that were needed, so that every detail that are required in governance, nothing will become new to the incoming people. Every ministry, every agency, every unit that has worked for government, including all the funds that have been collected, how they have been utilized, and the assets and the liabilities of government will all be put together in documents, the incoming government. These officially, the documents will be handed over on the 28th of May.
Another issue of discourse is national security. But unlike what came out of previous meetings, the outlook this time is clearly positive.
I did a very comprehensive briefing on the security situations in the country, among which was the issue of Boko Haram, successes recorded so far, which are known to all Nigerians, but that he did mention that it took a while because Nigeria, after the civil war, relaxed. There were no serious challenging security issues in the country. And so when Boko Haram emerged, it was a new phenomenon, and the military or the security agencies could not cope with it because nobody anticipated it. But that it took time for them to address it because they were getting together, trying to get the collaborations of some surrounding African countries who hitherto Nigeria have never had or shared intelligence with them on security issues. But now all of them are on board, and so it became easier for us to witness what we have witnessed, where we have Cameroon, Chad, and even Mali, Sudan, collaborating with Nigeria in order to fight this insurgency because they are also affected. The issues of the clashes between the herdsmen and the farmers.
The meeting, which began at about 11 a.m., had virtually all statutory members in attendance.
The Police Council has confirmed Solomon Arase as Substantive Inspector General of Police. The council, headed by President Goodluck Jonathan, took the decision on Tuesday with relevant members in attendance. Speaking to State House correspondent after the meeting, the new police chief assured Nigerians of the police commitment to ensuring peace and security across the country.
I have just been confirmed.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
What other issues were discussed at your council meeting, please?
Well, we talked about the security challenges we are having and our strategic responses to, addressing those challenges. Those are part of the things that we discussed. And I can assure Nigerians that we are going to, address those issues. There is no society that is actually crime-free, but we are trying to ensure that it is within tolerable, levels, and that is exactly what we are going to do. It's not as bad as the public perception in there. And besides that, you said what I want to tell my men. Their welfare will be, one of my cardinal responsibilities. And you don't motivate a workforce except their welfare becomes paramount in your. So I'm going to ensure that their welfare becomes is put in the front burner. To Nigerians, I know the expectations are high, but I can assure them that no Nigerian will suffer any injustice by my inaction or my action.
Yeah, like that I told you earlier on, issues the border and national security were discussed, how to ensure that Nigerians live in peace, how to ensure that securities are assured, how to ensure that their rights of properties are adequately protected. With that, a new IG was brought on board to see if the policies and the programs put in place and implemented by him.
President Goodluck Jonathan has approved the appointment of Justice Amir Sanusi as the Justice of the Supreme Court. Spokesman for the National Judicial Council, Sajuriye, disclosed this in a statement. The new Supreme Court judge is to be sworn in on Thursday. His appointment brings to 18 the number of justices of Nigeria's apex court. PDP's National Publicity Secretary Olisa Metu has accused the All Progressives Congress APC of trying to manipulate tribunal processes in Rivers Delta and Akwa Ibom State. Metu made this allegation while addressing a news conference in Abuja, as he insists members of the party are trying to keep terms with their first defeat after 16 years in power. According to him, while the APC may not be held responsible for the crisis in the PDP, including the recent crisis in Lagos State, he alleged that the APC is adopting strategies to destabilize the PDP and introduce a one-party system in the country. The PDP lost the presidential elections for the first time in 16 years. The party also lost a majority in the red and green chambers of the National Assembly. After the March 28 and April 11th presidential and governorship elections, drama seemed to be evolving daily in the PDP camp, both at the national and state levels. The latest drama is the purported impeachment of the Lagos PDP chairman Tunji Shele on Monday. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has the rest of the story.
On May 11, 2015, news of the removal of the Lagos PDP chairman filtered in. The secretariat was under lock and key with presence of security operatives on guard. The impeachment drama was attributed to the fallout of the party's primaries, where a particular group within the Lagos PDP camp had conspired to change the structure of the party.
They tried to divide the party along personality lines. But thank God, I hired all the leaders and elders behind me. The ESCO is made up of 49 members, and I control the majority at all times.
Chairman maintains he remains the party chairman till the next ESCO assumes office.
It is unfortunate that the few incarcerate members with the arrowhead, Kamal Olorunje and Wahab Owokoniro, eventually struck. I'm in the office now. I'm in control. I'm in charge.
The party says they do not regret having Jimmy Agbaja as the party's governorship flag bearer, maintaining that he gave the APC a keen competition in the last election. They are, however, assured that disciplinary action will be taken against the party offenders. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The crisis currently ravaging the People's Democratic Party is visiting the already troubled Ekiti State chapter as the State Working Committee sacks Idowu Faleye and elects Olatunde as a new acting chairman. Idowu Faleye has, however, denied his removal, accusing the other faction of asking for a huge sum of money. The Olatunde-led faction, however, insists that Faleye stepped down voluntarily after presenting to him glaring facts that nullifies him as the party leader. Rashid has more.
The Ekiti State chapter of the PDP is no doubt in troubled waters as two factions have emerged following the removal of the SY chairman Idowu Faleye, replaced by Olatunde. While Olatunde claims that Faleye is not a PDP member, thus resulting in his voluntary step down, Faleye insists he remains the state chairman.
Offended our constitution by appointing two powerful state working committee from the same ward. We alerted him. He also regretted it. That particular one was why he stepped aside. Even up to now, his name is not in the party register.
State working committee requested for payment of the honorarium, which I don't have such power to pay huge sum of money, and I cannot drag my name into the mud. I told them that they should hold on till when we get approval.
The legal advisor of the party, apparently on the side of the embattled chairman, cites legal implication, while the Olatunde-led faction reiterates that the chairman's removal is the overall consensus of the state working committee.
If we are going to have a meeting of the party, the chairman is supposed to call the meeting through the secretary, and all members of the executive will be notified. I am a member of the executive. I am a member of the state working committee. I am not aware of any meeting.
Incidentally, I have the attendance here, which he himself signed. We have 11 out of 14 SWC. Out of 13 assistant officers, 11 also signed. We have 22 over 29.
The party secretary, Tokbe Aluko, was last week touted for suspension, but it is the chairman that has now been sacked, a signal that Ekiti PDP is now heading for the rocks, even as the impeachment act still hangs on the governor Ayodele Fayose, as the party in Ekiti State now remains factionalized. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
And now to Rivers State, where 56 election petitions have been filed before the Rivers State Elections Petitions Tribunal sitting in Akpo, Abuja. As at Monday, the Rivers State Elections Tribunal has the highest number of petitions among the other state elections tribunals sitting in Abuja. The election tribunals of Rivers, Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states are sitting in Abuja because of security concerns in the various states. 5 of the petitions filed before the Rivers State Tribunal were filed before the governorship election panel, while the 51 other petitions were filed before the Legislative House election panel. Among the 51 other petitions were 3 filed by the All Progressives Congress candidates with respect to the elections into the 3 senatorial seats in the state. The rest of the petitions comprise 14 petitions challenging the election into the state's 13 House of Representatives seats and 37 other challenging elections in the 32 available seats in the State House of Assembly. The 5 governorship petitioners were part of 18 governorship candidates who contested the April 11, 2015 governorship election. The petitioners want the tribunal to nullify the election, which the Independent National Electoral Commission declared was won by Chief Nyesom Wike of the People's Democratic Party. The petitioners are Dakuku Peter Side of the APC, Charles Harry of the Progressive Grand Alliance, Tony Princeville of Labour Party, Kemka Elenwo of Koa Party and Minibim Hari of the Social Democratic Party. The All Progressives Congress has called on security agencies and the telecommunications service providers to help fish out those seeking to defraud Nigerians by asking them to apply for federal appointment in the incoming APC federal government through a non-existent APC screening committee. The party made this call in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary Eli Mohammed in Abuja. The party insists that the call has become necessary as the scammers had persisted in their fraudulent ways despite previous warnings by the party for them to desist. The telephone number and email address, as disclosed in the statement, are 0810-7400-745, ngcommittee@gmail.com, and affront Dr. Favor Idiodi, who is supposedly the screening committee chairman. APC repeated its earlier warning contained in a statement of April 21, 2015, where it warned Nigerians to beware of such fraudulent claims. It said the party had not set up any committee to which Nigerians should submit their CVs for screening and possible federal appointment. With the federal political crisis in Ekiti still brewing, the people of the state now have another battle on their hands, with kidnapping now on the rise, with 6 cases within the last 10 days. Health workers who have also been hit by the new threat have down their tools until one of them, Margaret Adelinka, is released from captivity. But the state government insists that it is on top of the situation. Rashid has more in this report from Ado Ekiti.
This woman will come back.
This prayer by Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose is a confirmation of the apparent rise in kidnapping of people in the state. But this is obviously not enough for the friends of Margaret Aladenika in the health sector, who have decided to down tools until her release. The Governor Ayo Fayose, in his response to the protest by the health workers at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Ado Ekiti, says the state government is on top of the situation.
It is our responsibility, because of the peculiarity of our state, we have to stand up to it and face it. But in issues like this, security is not discussed in the public. We can only appeal to the people to be calm.
While the health workers continue to grieve for their colleague in captivity, they also insist that they will not return to work until she is released.
All we want is for her to come back hale, hearty and alive, unhurt, and as soon as possible.
I've so declared the strike indefinitely until Aladenika comes back safe, sound and alive.
We have declared that we want to withdraw our services until we see her. So right now, everybody is going to go back home, and we will not be coming back until she's back with us here.
For the Chief Medical Director, Ayodele Majakodomi, security consciousness is the beginning of wisdom.
Everybody should watch his back, or watch our back. In this dispensation now, it's not about Ekiti alone, Ekiti State alone. It's all over the country or even beyond. We need to be security conscious.
While the tension level rises, the Emergency State Security Council meeting called by the governor is expected to provide solution to nipping this ugly trend in the bud in the state. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Senate passes anti-tobacco bill outlaws smoking in public places. Find out more after this timeout. Stay with us.
Any tribe that rules has solid rules.
Rule number 1, friends stay close. Friends in the tribe, stay closer. Feel me?
Rule number 2, in the tribe, you always know what's up with Facebook, WhatsApp, Phoebe, and Twitter. Guess what? It's free.
Rule number 3, there are no rules with SMS. It's endless. Yes, boss.
Rule number 4, enjoy very long conversations with that special someone.
Enjoy endless connections to your friends with free calls, free WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, and BBM. You also enjoy up to 200% bonus on your recharges to call all networks. Migrate now by dialing *312# and start a live endless connection.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks for staying tuned with us. That's CoreTV Primetime News. A quick reminder of our major story. Nigeria's Council of State meets ahead. Transition approves handover program. Federal government affirms Solomon Orase as substantive Inspector General of Police. Senate signs passes anti-tobacco bill and laws smoking in public places. And do not forget that you can also catch us on our social media platforms on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV /Space News. The Senate has passed an anti-tobacco bill which primarily seeks to shield non-smokers, but it also has provisions that will ultimately protect farmers and the local tobacco industry. The bill was passed after the Senate Committee on Health presented a bulky report outlining penalties for smoking in public places and the sale of tobacco products to minors.
A bill for an act to repeal the Tobacco Control Act 1990 Cap T76, Laws of the Federation, and to enact the National Tobacco Control Bill 2015 to provide for the regulation and control of the production, manufacture, sale, advertising, promotion and sponsorship of tobacco products in Nigeria, and for that matter dated thereto 2015, read the third time and passed.
This is the climax of a process that began about a year ago with an executive bill that prescribes a 6-month jail term for smoking in public places. There was also a public member bill sponsored by Senator Ifeanyi Okowa and 10 members of the Senate Committee on Health. The two bills were consolidated, and after a debate that saw the Senate divided on the possibility of an outright ban on smoking, a public hearing was called for input from the various vested interests. 6 months after the hearing, the committee turned in a report which members say took health and economic issues into consideration. In the report presented by Senator Chris Ngige, the committee noted that as much as smokers have a lifestyle choice, they should be stopped from harming non-smokers. But there was also a dose of reality, as the committee admitted that a total ban on tobacco products would have adverse effects on farmers and the local industry. The bill was passed easily, with Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu insisting that non-smokers have a right to be protected.
For us as a Senate, the danger associated with smoking cannot be overemphasized. And the tragedy here is that those at risk are not just who smoke, but those around them, their loved ones, their neighbors, and their friends.
He also has some comforting words for the local tobacco industry and others benefiting from the tobacco trade.
So it is important that we regulate the smoking and other matters related with the tobacco manufacturing and sale. This we have done today in order to protect our people from the harmful effect of smoking. So I believe that the society, especially those whose business involves production and sale of tobacco, will understand our concern for the health of our people. So once more, I'd like to congratulate you and believe that the law enforcement agencies will take appropriate action to enforce this very important legislation.
The House of Representatives is expected to tow a similar path, after which both chambers would harmonize their positions into a single document that would be sent for the President's assent. But if President Jonathan fails to sign the bill into law, the process would have to begin all over again.
The House of Representatives on Tuesday considered the report from the Committee on Health and Federal Road Safety Commission on a bill for an act to provide for compensation of victims of road accidents. The committee report was presented by Ndudi Elumelu, representing Anyocha Osemele Federal Constituency of Delta State, is aimed at making the Road Safety Commission to establish an Accident Victims Compensation Fund. Pia Samo has more.
Attendance at plenary on Tuesday was low, but this did not deter the House members from carrying out their legislative duties. In the absence of major issues, Deputy Speaker of the House, Emeka Ihedioha, called for the presentation and considerations of reports. The first set of reports to be laid for consideration were from the Committee on Health, Joint Committee on Health and Justice, and the Committee on Health and Federal Road Safety Commission.
I also move that this House do receive a report of the Committee on Health and Justice on a bill for an act to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science and for other matters connected therewith. I also move that this House do receive a report of the Committee on Health on Federal Road Safety Commission on a bill for an act to provide compensation of victims of road accident and to establish the Road Accident Victims Compensation Commission and for other matters related. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Melu, please proceed and lay the reports.
The report from the Committee on Education and Justice was also considered by the House members. Presenting the report, Aminu Suleiman, representing Fagge Federal Constituency of Kano State, wants the House to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act of 2011 to enable the Nigerian Law School to benefit from the fund.
This, like you rightly said, sir, is a very important matter. If you are to get this document today and expected to make any reasonable input, and we are saying that we are coming to discuss it tomorrow, I think that it will not be enough for us.
After consideration and presentation of reports, the House went into committee of the whole for further legislative inputs on some bills of national importance. Pia Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Legal practitioners have advised the National Assembly to respect the law to avoid crisis and the purported Constitution Amendment. This is on the backdrop of the National Assembly reported vow to override the President and the Supreme Court. Oluwaseyi has the rest of the story.
The federal government had earlier instituted a suit at the Supreme Court to nullify the proposed amendments to the 1999 Constitution. President Jonathan had withheld his assent to the amendment to some sections of the documents sent to him by the National Assembly. He faulted some of the amendments which gives executive powers and duties to the legislature and judiciary.
The complaint that actually, I say that may deserve some attention is the issue of amendment of the amending section. There is a section that amends the Constitution with which you can, I think Section 9. That particular section was amended, and then it requires a special requisite number for it to be passed into law.
The upper chamber of the National Assembly some days back had vowed to override the President and Supreme Court, claiming that the court does not have the powers to prevent it from conducting its legislative duties.
It's an unnecessary controversy. It's an unnecessary crisis involving now the three arms of government. I'm aware that the House can override the veto power of the President. I'm not aware whether the House can override the judgment or the ruling of the Supreme Court or any court in the land.
Now, the Supreme Court, led by Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, had fixed June 18 for further hearing on the case, on a date the tenure of the current Assembly would have ended.
If there's any order of the court that have been validly granted, the order of the court must be obeyed. And there is a serious consequence for disobedience of court order.
So much money has been wasted in trying to amend this particular constitution, almost in the billions, and time also wasted. The Supreme Court should have been interested in having this matter resolved within the lifespan of this administration.
The process of amending the Constitution still hangs in the balance. Time will tell how the incoming administration will handle the issue. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
As Nigerians prepare for the transition to another administration, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has identified the rule of law as the bedrock of any country seeking relevance in the community of developed nations. Fashola made this assertion while commissioning of a magistrate court in Ogba area of Agege local government area. Abiola Oluwole has more on the story as presented from our studios.
The magistrate court, dedicated in honor of a former chief judge of the state, Samuel Ilori, according to Governor Fashola, is designed to deepen the access of residents to justice. He emphasized that rule of law must be accorded its proper place if Nigeria is ready to take her rightful place in the community of nations.
No matter how beautiful the buildings we build, the roads, if we choose to live outside the law, ultimately our society will not progress. So it is important to pay attention to those who have the responsibility to enforce laws, who have the responsibility to administer laws.
Appreciating Fashola for his contribution to the state judiciary, Lagos State Chief Judge Olufunmilayo Atilade promised effective use of the courthouse.
Efforts will be intensified with the support of the state government to further enhance the human and technical capacity of our judicial officers, magistrates and support staff for optimum service delivery. Our goal to significantly decongest the prisons and cases pending in our courts will be vigorously pursued and achieved.
Governor Fashola proceeded to hand over the first phase of Solus Material Recovery Facility at Igondo area of the state.
The trial of Aminu Oguche, the alleged mastermind of the 2014 Nyaya bus terminal bombing, and 5 others at the Federal High Court Abuja has been stalled due to the absence of the prosecution witnesses. The court had slated May 12 for proper trial of the suspects after several adjournment, but has now fixed 19th May and 20th. Prosecution counsel Mohammed Idris told the court that 3 of the witnesses slated to testify were on official assignment. Defense counsel Hamid Raji and 5 other counsels did not object, but demanded a speedy trial.
3 of their witnesses are not available, that they went for other official assignments. But one would have thought coming to court to give evidence on a sensitive matter like this is a bigger official assignment than. But since what they are talking about borders and security, we need to give them the benefit of doubt. And we are not reading any meanings into it. So we agreed to an adjournment, and the court has now adjourned to 19th and 20th of May, which is next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, when they are supposed to come with their witnesses.
Over 1,000 youths from the 19 states of northern Nigeria have converged on Kaduna for the first time for the Northern Youth Summit. The one-day event was put together with support from the socio-cultural group Arewa Consultative Forum. Amina Inebi has more in this report presented from our studios.
These young people have gathered in Kaduna for a reason. They are seeking unity among various youth groups in northern Nigeria. The organizers are happy about the population of young people in the region, but also concerned over the figure of out-of-school children.
Along with the vision that we must have is the fact that we must begin to see in ourselves the huge potentials that we have got. Statistics have proven to us that more than 50% of those 10.8 million children that are out of school are from within the length and breadth of the 19 northern states.
Many of the participants agree that a lot needs to be done to develop the region. They also encourage young Nigerians in northern Nigeria not to relent in fighting for their right to better lives.
And all we are saying here is, the stronger, if we must be strong, then we must be together. The Arewa Consultative Forum have already given the youth their full support.
Happy seeing some key people here and people who believe in the North. And I wish the way we came together today, I wish we would also work together and make it possible for northern Nigerian youths.
This is the only way that we northern youth can wake up
and recognize our potentials.
The region's main socio-cultural group, Arewa Consultative Forum, also had a word of advice for youths from all 19 states.
We are seeing the past. We hope to see more to galvanizing northern Nigeria, because now the leadership is back to northern Nigeria. We need to carry everybody along.
The gathering assured Nigerians that the North will no sooner reactivate its integrated strength. But this, they say, would never be complete if northern youths do not come together and work as a team.
Chukwuma Azikiwe, the first son of pioneer President of Nigeria, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, is feared dead. A family source who pleaded not to be named said he passed on at Bromeo Hospital on Sunday at the age of 75. It was gathered that he had been battling protracted respiratory-related ailment for some years now. Chukwuma, until his death, was the Uwele of Onitsha, a traditional position he inherited from his father in 1996. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe died 19 years ago on May 11, 1996. Chukwuma had once contested unsuccessfully the governorship seat of the old Anambra state at the end of his diplomatic career. Details about his funeral arrangement would be announced later, according to Onitsha customs and tradition. As Owele, he was 6th in traditional title ranking in Onitsha. President-elect Muhammadu Buhari has described the death of Chukwuma Azikiwe as the exit of a great Nigerian who was brought up in the best traditional and national unity of Guinea, genuine African values. General Buhari said in a condolence message made available to the media in Abuja that with the demise of Chukwuma Azikiwe, a gentleman has left a turbulent world. He described him as a thoroughbred Nigerian citizen who chose a private life after a distinguished diplomatic career in Nigeria's foreign service. The president-elect said he had lost a friend who cared for him and often found time to visit him in his Kaduna home. The allied health professionals and the management of the Federal Medical Center, Owerri, continues staff of the FMC branch have once again taken the street to protest against queries issued to some of their members. The demand of the employees, which amongst others is centered on the purported privatization of some medical services by the management of the health facility, sparked reactions resulting into protest.
Your representatives are marching to the board right away. So as we discussed ab initio, we are moving. So people can lead us as we go. So let's move immediately. Pharaoh, let my people go. I'll rather go to the promised land. Pharaoh, let my people go.
This may not be the best of times for residents of Lagos as the fuel scarcity continues. Like many others across the country, they have continued to experience the harrowing effects of the fuel crisis in the country. All across Lagos metropolis, residents went in frantic search of the essential commodity, which has almost become elusive. In Ojedu, a suburb of Lagos, consumers can be seen with different sizes of jerrycans forming long queues. In other parts of the city, such as Ikorodu Town, Ikorodu Road, Ojedu, Alausa, the story remains the same, as the situation has resulted in long queues. Meanwhile, at one of the NNPC filling stations along Ikorodu, the CoreTV news crew met the filling station under key.
4:15 a.m. and when I came, I met few people on the queue, which I queued. But later on, there was a different development, which people started smuggling jerry cans and everything, especially the road safety people, as the other guy has earlier explained. They took in some kegs and whatever. Then later on, another set of people again came, which decided diverting some kegs inside. And those are the people now on queue there. But we that came in earlier, we are still here, still waiting.
I don't know what the government is going to do about it. They should try and do something. So if it goes on like this, there'll be a problem in this country.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and return with business, sports and entertainment. Stay with us.
Every day of the week will bring to you divergent views on news making the headline.
If people who commit crime are being rewarded with national honors, with national appointments, then where are we going in this country?
It's not about whether it was Jonathan or whether you are going to have a Buhari. It's the kind of political structure we run.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
We are talking about a Buhari who at 41 became head of state. The man did not exhibit the attribute of somebody that is strong intellectually.
So, comrade, you're saying if you become governor, you're going to bring back Okada? You will bring back the market women on the streets?
Me, don't put words in my mouth.
On Core Digest, we bring all of this to the court of public opinion, where you are the judge.
Welcome back now to business. The National Bureau of Statistics is set to unveil plans to carry out a survey on the consumption of gas and petroleum products in the country. The survey will be carried out from May 27th and is designed to build a robust oil and gas database for policy formulation and strategic planning for sustainable development in the sector. Speaking on the survey, the Statistician General of the Federation, Dr. Yemi Kale, said the idea to carry out the survey had been approved by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. The survey is the first of its kind in the oil and gas sector, a vital move in strengthening the production, supply and consumption chain of gas and petroleum products in the country. It will also assist in determining the domestic volume of gas and petroleum product demand, supply and utilization, as well as exportation and importation of quantities within the study period. In addition, the survey will promote the usage of gas domestically as well as for export, and will also serve as an end point to generate relevant statistical data necessary to formulate planning options for the sustainable development of the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. The survey will cover from 2012 to 2014. The federal government plans to sell 600 billion naira worth of sovereign bonds on the 13th of May. The Debt Management Office, DMO, says it would sell 5, 10 and 20-year sovereign bonds. According to the DMO, it would sell 20 billion naira each of the papers due to mature in 2020, 2024 and 2034 respectively. The papers are reopening of previous issues, and the results of the auction will be published the following day. It's now time to join Sabina Izoku for Stock Market Report.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabina Izoku. The equities market on the floor, the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today as the Nigerian All Shares Index depreciated by 0.66% to close at 34,115.49 basis points. The market capitalization declined to close at 11.58 trillion naira. In all, a total volume of 525.9 million units of shares valued at 3.28 billion naira were exchanged in 4,364 deals. And on the gainer side, corn oil topped the chart, followed by GlaxoSmithKline, Unilever, PZ Cussons, and Julius Berger. And on the flip side, Total topped the chart, followed by 40 Oil, Nigerian Breweries, Eco Transnational Incorporation, and Flour Mill. For the top trade side, United Bank for Africa topped the chart, followed by Sterling Bank, Unity Bank, Access Bank, and CI&I Leasing. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today. I am Sabina Izoku.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
There you have it, Stock Market Report with Sabina Izuku. And now to sports. The treble from second half substitute Taiwo Awoniyi ensured the Nigeria under-20 team silenced the German side in a friendly game played on Tuesday afternoon. Nigeria under-20 team defeated Hoffenheim 5-2 in a friendly game played on Tuesday afternoon. A hard streak from red-hot Taiwo Awoniyi inspired Manu Gaba's side a comprehensive win over the German top-flight under-23 team as the continued preparations for the 2015 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand. The duo have joined Edwin Okon's team for preparations for the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup in Canada as the team departs for Toronto next Tuesday. The Super Falcons camp swelled on Tuesday with the arrival of Liverpool ladies forward Azizat Oshoala and United States-based Courtney Dickey for the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup build for Canada. Coach Edwin Okon's ladies continued preparations for the quadrennial female football showpiece after their Mali counterpart pulled out of the Olympic qualifier on Friday. Oshoala, who played all minutes as the Red lost 1-0 to Notts County in the English Women Premier League on Sunday, arrived on Monday night, while Kansas State University DK hosted for the Falconets at the Under-20 Women's World Cup arrived camp on Tuesday morning and will be hoping to break into the star-studded Super Falcons team. Both players are expected to take part in the team's training on Tuesday evening. In another development, the reigning African Queens will depart for Toronto next Tuesday to fine-tune strategies for the World Cup, the Nigeria Football Federation tweeted on their handle. Nigeria's surviving team on the continent, Warri Wolves, have promised to deliver when they face host AC Leopards in Saturday's CAF Confederation Cup play of build for the state's Dennis Sasso Mwezo. Media officer Moses Etu confirmed that they will be departing for the face their host, who were bounced out of the CAF Champions League by Smoha of Egypt, while assuring that Wolves have all it takes to secure a way in Congo. AC Leopards came to Kano Pillars, defeated them 4-1, while the reverse leg ended 3-0 and qualified on away goal rule against Heartland that lost 3-2 in Owerri and qualified 2 on away goal rule after winning at home 2-1, and currently they are fourth in the Congolese league. Paul Agbogun's men are yet to lose a game since the beginning of the competition. Chelsea's Eden Hazard has been voted the Football Writers Association Player of the Year, adding to the PFA award he won in April. The 24-year-old Belgium attacker collected 53% of the votes from the 300-plus journalists who were polled. Tottenham striker Harry Kane finished second, while Blues teammate and captain John Terry was third. Hazard, who signed for Chelsea in 2012, scored 20 goals in all competitions this season for the champions. FWA chairman Andy Dunn of the Sunday Mirror said the list of truly world-class players on the Football Writers Association Roll of Honor is a long one, and Eden Hazard is a worthy addition. Katarina Johnson-Thomas will not defend her title at the Goszi's Hypo meeting in Austria later this month, as she is not sufficiently prepared. The 22-year-old narrowly finished second in the 200-meter hurdles at the Great City Games in Manchester on Saturday, but the European indoor pentathlon champions training has been disrupted by a knee injury sustained in March. Her coach, Mike Holmes, said much of the preparation necessary to compete across all events has been lost. The news will come as a disappointment to those anticipating a matchup in Austria between Johnson Thompson and Olympic champion Jessica Ennis-Hill. Holmes said it had been necessary to reflect on how the season should proceed following Manchester, and the Liverpoolian main focus would. American Ricky Fowler beat Diego Garcia and Kevin Kingsner in a playoff and on a dramatic final day at the Player Championship in Sawgrass. The trio finished on 12 under, but Fowler beat Kingsner at the first sudden death after Garcia was earlier eliminated. It was his second PGA Tour win after success in the Wells Fargo Championship in August 2012. In the first three-hole aggregate playoff in tournament history, Garcia would only play the 16th, 17th and 18th in level par, as Fowler and Kingsner played them in 1 under thanks to birdies on the 17th. And Fowler then repeated the trick on the first hole of sudden death to give him a prize of $1.8 million in the tournament, often dubbed as golf richest event. The victory came in the week Fowler and England's Ian Poulter were voted the most overrated players by their peers in an anonymous survey conducted by Sports Illustrated. By Fowler's beliefs, the win answers his critics. And now to entertainment, where Kanye West beamed with joy as he was awarded an honorary doctorate from the School of the Arts Institute in Chicago, one of the top art schools in America. West admitted to being nervous at the ceremony, in which he wore the traditional cap and gown, though he never completed his degree in English at Chicago State University, where his late mother, Dr. Donda West, was chair of the department. The academia clearly left its mark. West's first 3 albums were called The College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation. Accepting his honor, West said in his speech, "I'm sorry is something you can use a lot." He said it gives you the opportunity to give your opinion, apologize for it, and give your opinion again. He told the students that he would use the honor to make all our lives easier. And now outside Nigeria, a major earthquake has struck eastern Nepal near Mount Everest 2 weeks after more than 8,000 people died in a devastating quake. At least 48 people have been killed and more than 1,000 injured. Officials say at least 17 have died in India. The latest earthquake hit near the town of Namche and sent thousands of panicked residents onto the streets of Nepal's capital, Kathmandu. It had a magnitude of 7.3 compared with the 7.8 of the 25th April quake. The latest quake struck at 12:35 Nepal time and was centered about 76 kilometers east of Kathmandu in a rural area close to the Chinese border. The quake was felt in northern India and Bangladesh. India's Home Ministry said 16 people had been killed in the state of Bihar and 1 in Uttar. Officials in China said 1 person was confirmed dead in Tibet. Nepal quake. As it happened, rescue helicopters have been sent to district east of Kathmandu that are believed to be worst hit. Police in Charikot, 80 kilometers northeast of the capital, said 20 people had died there. Later on Tuesday, the U.S. military said a Marine Corps helicopter involved in disaster relief efforts had gone missing while working in the vicinity. 8 people were on board. A spokesman for Nepal's government said that 31 of the country's 75 districts had been affected by the latest quake. Prime Minister Suhil Kairala called for courage and patience and urged all those who had assisted Nepal since the 25th of April quake to once again extend their helping hand. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says he has held a frank meeting with President Vladimir Putin during his first visit to Russia since the Ukraine crisis began in early 2014. Both sides say that 8 hours of talks between Kerry and the Russian leadership were a welcome development. It is the highest level trip by a U.S. official to Russia since the Ukraine crisis began. Relations between the two countries deteriorated sharply since then. The West has criticized Russia for annexing the Crimea Peninsula and has accused Russia of arming rebels in eastern Ukraine. Russia denies arming the rebels or sending troops there, although Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov agreed with Mr. Kerry at a joint press conference on Tuesday night that the ceasefire in Ukraine is still being violated. More than 6,000 people have been killed in fighting, which began in April 2014 between Ukrainian government forces and Russian-backed rebels in the eastern Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Kerry says it was critically important that the ceasefire deal agreed in Minsk in February be fully implemented in eastern Ukraine. He said US and EU sanctions against Russia could only be scaled down if and when that happens. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we go, a recap of our major headlines. Nigeria Council of States meets ahead transition, approves handover program. We also told you that the federal government has affirmed Solomon Arase as substantive Inspector General of Police. You also heard on CoreTV News that the Senate has signed the anti-tobacco bill and outlaws smoking in public places. And that's our show for tonight. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift or Geta. Do have a lovely, lovely night rest. Good night.